already.
Sir, we already got it popping up in here. Get your popcorn ready podcast. This is your host, Hatch, my boy.
Yeah. The other host is in the building
The
right
host
here.
with the mostest.
Yes, sir. T.O., we right here with Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast. And we always say we have a special guest, but we definitely got a special guest today.
Special NBA legend Jim Jackson is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, my guy?
What's up, Ohio?
OHT in the building. You know what it is.
Oh, okay.
The OHT in the building.
That's right. Yeah.
Ohio,
That's
right? I'm from Cleveland, outside of Cleveland.
I forgot
right?
that.
First
bro.
went to Ohio
Yeah.
State. I wasn't blessed enough to go to Ohio State, but he was. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
When you going back, man, get some of
Bro.
that cold weather.
You know, it's funny because I do so many games back east, I'm always in the cold. But it's funny, living in L.A., you know this, is that your blood thins. So when it get
Yes,
below
sir.
70 degrees, bro, it's
Right.
freezing. But I do a bunch of Ohio State games, so I'm going back in after the first of the year.
Okay.
Always good to
That's
get back.
awesome, man.
Absolutely.
We got like a real hooper in the building. Me and you, we the real two hoopers in the
So,
building.
you know what I mean? Don't laugh at that, dog.
They put some clips up the other day of T.O. in high school. I think they put some clips up.
Really?
Somebody was running some clips.
Oh, I need to see that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
I didn't even
know
have-
he was stiff. I know
Probably,
he was.
probably. I wasn't. I don't claim to be a basketball player per se, but I mean, at
High
that time,
school.
high school. Like I
Okay.
felt like I was a better basketball player
right.
than I was football. But you from Ohio, y'all dapping up. Like what happened to your
Yeah.
basketball game though?
I mean, I wasn't two-time player of the year in high school like Jim was. You know what I'm saying?
Back in the day.
Back in the day. So tell us
Yeah.
about that experience, though, growing up being the man in basketball.
Right.
You know, it's ironic. Football is my favorite sport.
Because a lot of people say you're built like a football
Football's
player,
my favorite.
right?
So I grew up a Steeler fan.
Okay.
Me too.
So always wanted to be like Lynn Swan.
Awesome.
So Pittsburgh was my favorite. Still is my favorite team.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, and I was like, I said, we don't know when it's gonna air, but
Franco
rest
Harris.
in peace, man.
Rest in peace,
Franco Harris,
man.
man.
He just
Absolutely.
passed,
R.I.P. man.
For
I didn't
sure.
even know he was sick.
I didn't.
neither.
I ran into. I just ran into him not too long ago at the airport. No lie.
Here? Or where were you at?
I was just traveling. I was
Traveling.
traveling. I was somewhere, and we ran into each other at the airport.
Listen,
Wow.
there was some people I wanted to meet. I got a chance to meet Lynn Swan. Got a chance to meet Franco Harris. Got a chance to meet Terry Bradshaw. I didn't get John Stallworth, which I wanted.
Okay. Receiver, right?
Yeah,
I remember
He was on the other side of
Lynn
Lynn
Swan.
Swan.
Okay, gotcha,
And
gotcha.
actually, he had statistically a better career, but Lynn had all the acrobatic
Highlights.
catches and highlights.
And
Yeah.
big games.
And big, you know what I mean? So that was
right.
But he was like the stabilizing force for Terry Bradshaw
Yep.
at that time. Rocky Blyer,
Yes.
back in the day. Then
Wow, I
the
don't even-
defense.
Rocky Blyer.
Oh,
I don't
bro.
know who that is.
What?
No,
He
who's
tripping.
it?
See what I'm saying?
that's when the fullback was really utilized
Right.
back in the
Okay,
day.
I'm sorry.
Right.
What did I just tell you before this? I didn't really
You
think
didn't-
I wasn't really a football
You wasn't
guy.
really a football guy.
Already.
You right.
Right.
But that was my thing. So we would play in the neighborhood all the time in Ohio because we would have either in the neighborhood teams and we would travel and go play each other, or we'd just be playing two-hand tap in the street.
Yeah.
Right,
or
right.
where we can find some grass and we would play.
Yep.
So I
throw it
played
up
all
and tackle,
You know it.
two-hand tap, all that.
all the time.
All
so
that.
we hooped, but it was more football because Ohio is a football place.
So
right?
what was your position? What did
I
you?
tight end, defensive end.
Yeah,
but
okay.
but you know, playing in the street,
you play
play
whatever.
receiver.
You
play
You're
everything.
playing receiver,
You're the quarterback, running back,
everything,
DB,
everything.
safety.
Now we played also, which is crazy, because we play in the snow, ice outside. We would play
Yes,
all the
sir.
time before we go into school. Sweaty, stinky,
Yeah,
going
yeah,
in the
snow
grades,
all
snow
over you.
all over you.
Wow.
But that was our thing, bro. That was our thing. I loved it, man.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
again, growing up in Ohio, it's when you get that snow, like you running out to play in snow.
Playing in snow.
Right, yeah, I wasn't really familiar to growing up in the South. I mean, we got a little snow. When we got snow, bro, it was like a celebration.
I know
like,
it was.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we didn't get it
Yeah.
on an every
We got it
winter
6
basis.
months out the year.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
We had no choice but to figure it out.
Yeah,
how
there
to
you
play
go.
in the snow. Now,
Right.
snowballing.
Yeah.
You did this. Snowballing buses.
Oh, absolutely.
What,
From the
car-
trees.
From the trees.
From the
look.
trees, absolutely.
Hey, look.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
look.
a thing.
Oh, so look, at night, we used to go at night, and my father drove the bus too.
Oh, man.
So, but we used to go at night, and so you know how they pile up all the snow on the side of the curb?
Yep.
So we'll go, in our neighborhood, we'll go hide behind that, and cars would come by, we just get up, boom, boom,
Back
boom.
down, yeah.
And they'll try to chase us, but they couldn't chase us in our neighborhood because they didn't know where to go.
You know the
what?
neighborhood.
We did that. Well, we
Ain't gonna
did
catch
that,
us.
but it was with eggs.
Same thing, same
Same
thing.
thing, yeah.
But check this out. I didn't know how terrible it was because I didn't know
consequences of
Right,
an
no,
egg.
I knew I knew the consequence. I didn't know that eggs strip the paint from the cars.
If it dries up.
If it
Right,
dries
I
up.
had no
Yeah.
idea. So that was a big thing too. So I'm like, I didn't know. I'm like, okay, I just think that you hit it. They just
You
wash it
run,
off and
yeah.
go about your business. But
No,
whatever
Jack.
the cut, whatever the ingredients is, the consistency
egg.
in the egg, whatever it is, whatever the makeup is, it would strip the paint from
Yes.
the cars.
Bro. Absolutely.
We used to do. I mean, growing up, man. I guess you don't like. When you grow up, you don't know what you don't know.
Right,
You just
right.
know your
Just a kid.
environment,
you've
what's
been a
going
teenager.
on,
You've
you
been a
being a
kid.
teenager. But I think a lot of those things teach us a lot about life,
True.
people, environments, how to handle, how to react, how to deal with some adversity. All those little things that you go through, growing up and having to experience, and then figuring it out by yourself, especially growing up in the neighborhood. You got to figure all that out.
Speaking of that, you was talking about the experiences, as he was alluding to with the question. What was that experience like? Obviously, you've been like LeBron was coming out of high school.
Pretty much, yeah.
Before LeBron, you're being
absolutely.
that guy.
I tell you what, let me tell you something. It was you got to give credit to a lot of people. It was my high school coach. So my freshman year, I went to play, and I started off playing JV. And it was, I don't know, a game in, and back then you played 3 quarters JV, 1 quarter varsity.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a thing?
That was
If
a
you're-
thing.
if you're the dude,
If you're
yeah.
the,
Yeah,
if
see,
you're the
I
dude.
wasn't that guy.
So I go, and we're playing this school called Willard, in a small school in Ohio. And we lose the JV game, but I go play the varsity game. I ain't playing. I'm at the end of the bench clowning.
Right.
I mean, not paying attention.
Right.
We getting beat. And then 4th quarter, so he puts me in the game. Why? I don't have a clue. And he calls my name. I'm like, what? And I go in.
That's me?
I'm like, so he puts me at the point. I'm probably about the same size. Okay? So
you got in because y'all was getting dragged.
yeah, we was getting, no, seriously, that was it. That's why I wasn't paying attention. But then I had like 6 points, 6 rebounds, 6. We ended up coming back. The following practice, he comes in and says, I'm moving you to varsity. I'm like, why? I don't want to play varsity. I don't want to sit on the bench. He's like, no, I'm moving you.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm upset.
Right.
So our next game we play Elyria, and I'm in the locker room, and he puts the starting lineup on the board. He has my name up there.
Okay.
And it was at point guard. Now, mind you, I had some seniors who were point guards, pissed.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. Now I get why they were mad. But he puts, so I end up starting, for the rest of the season. And why I say that is, after that, he took me to basketball camps and along with some other players, and I got a chance to see how good I could really be. But it was him
Who saw it in you
who
first.
saw something in me that I didn't see.
Yes.
So he pushed me to be uncomfortable in a situation where, one, I was playing against older, more mature guys.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
More importantly, I had to learn how to deal with conflict within my own team.
Yeah, true.
Okay, because
Right. Now you have been dealing with your teammates.
think about it.
Yeah, they're hating on you
I
now.
get it, man.
Yeah.
They seniors, and they're like, man, we've been doing this for 3 years now,
didn't
2
earn
years,
this.
Right.
and now you just go give it to them. But as the season rolled on, they understood why he did it. You know, and we're all still close friends today, but that taught me so much of the dynamics of team and people and how to massage those relationships at 15 years old.
Yes. Which is key for a leader on any team.
Bro, it was difficult at times because I just wanted to hoop. I didn't know.
Right.
Keep on going because I'm gonna come back to this
But
whole scenario.
you know, but once I figured it out, and then that summer he took us to these basketball camps, Blue Chip, Metro Index, and I ended up getting like MVPs with seniors.
Wow.
That's when I knew in my head, I said I could be pretty good at this.
I'm nice at this.
You know, once I learned drills and work ethic and how to do this, I always worked hard.
And also at the point guard too, you learn like now you're having to direct and lead a team at the same time.
It was totally different because I love passing the ball, and Magic was my guy, and I love to get people involved and do that. So at my size, I was able to do that, you know, at a young age, and then take that, and then figure out how to win games and make my guys buy into what we wanted to do because I could go score.
Right.
I wasn't worried about that. But anytime I did this and got my guys involved, we all had a great time. But that was the learning process at 15, 16 years old that if I didn't go through it that way.
Yeah. And who was that coach?
It was a Bart Schroeder.
Barry?
Bart.
Bart Schroeder. Shout out to Bart.
Yeah,
Right?
Bart Schroeder.
That's
To
what's
be the
up.
Mac company.
That's awesome. So again, that freshman, sophomore year,
Mm-hmm.
eventually having some success in basketball, then take us to when you were start dominating in Ohio and across the country.
But it was after that, I'm telling you, and then my sophomore year where I just knew, because when you grow up, I'm in Toledo. Okay,
Right.
you may be one of the best there, but until you go out and test it,
Chicago and New York.
at the big basketball camps, because
Yeah.
back then AAU wasn't that big.
Right.
It was basketball camps.
That's it.
Local. Now you local. You kind of master the local.
You master the local. Now you go to the national.
Right, right.
And when you compete on that level, and then you start getting ranked, and that's when you get the internal confidence. Oh, I can play now.
Right.
But you got to, I think for me, it was always, I kept it bottled up in regards to, from an ego perspective, it wasn't about that for me. For me, I just wanted to be the best that I could be, whatever that meant.
Right,
I don't know
right.
what that meant.
Right.
I just knew that when I read a Hoops magazine or something, I was like, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be one of the best players in the country. Wow. That's what drove me.
Right.
Eventually I got there, my junior and senior year, but it was the process in which I woke up. You know how it is. You put that work in the morning. Nobody else wants to do it.
Nope.
You put that time in. You play. You hoop. That's what you do.
Yep.
And when I saw those fruits of that labor paying off, I just kept with it. Then eventually everything started to come together collectively, from a team perspective. And that's how that's how I kind of went in high school.
That's awesome.
That's how I was when I got to the league. When you talk about seeing the fruits of your labor pay off, I didn't really start seeing that till like after my third year in the league. I ended up getting a personal trainer. He started, doing this. We started doing specific, position-specific workouts. And then, like I said, I go into that next season, and then, I was like, wow, this is totally different than I was the year before. So then it was like, okay, I got addicted to the process and just addicted to that success.
Addicted to the
Was
details.
it so you played with Jerry and you saw all of that?
Yeah, I saw it the first 3 years. I didn't really know who Jerry was until like my junior
See, that's
year.
crazy. That's crazy.
Me too. I'm like,
That is. Say
you're
it
supposed to know
again.
this
I
stuff.
didn't know who Jerry was till like my junior year.
Okay, so when you go to San Francisco and you meet Jerry Rice for the first time, you just like, he's another guy.
Another guy.
I did because I didn't understand who he was
So
until
you didn't
like
know
I said
like the numbers.
Right,
and
I didn't know.
balls and none of that.
Right, like I said, my
That's
junior
hilarious.
year, like I said, I remember coming in from this is so crazy. We playing intramural basketball. I leave an intramural playing basketball game. I go back into the dorms. They're watching my teammates, my roommates. They're watching Monday, like I think it was Monday Night Football, and they're playing somebody on Monday Night Football, and that's when I got up my first glimpse of who Jerry was. Playing
Like some guy named
He's some
Rice.
guy.
Right, and then like I said, you fast forward, my senior year again, I end up being drafted, and then like that year right before I got drafted, it was a magazine that came out. I don't know the title of it, but my mom still has it. And in the middle of the magazine, it's two big life-size pictures, him on one side and I'm on the other side, and the title was called "Diamonds in the Rough." And again, that was when
Because it's small, smooth, stuff like
and
that.
that's when I
right.
got to know and I started to really expand. I'm like, my knowledge of who he was. I'm like, I didn't know anything about Mississippi Valley State. I had no
Well,
idea
a lot of
about
people
that.
didn't know about that.
Right.
Yeah, I
but
give you
again,
that one.
but I understood, like I said, now, okay, he went to a small school. I went pretty much to a small school.
Now, again, speaking of small schools, right? You went to the Ohio State
Polar-
University, right?
Polar opposite,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, what type of bag they give you to go to Ohio State?
Didn't, bro.
That's what I want.
It's okay, bro. This is
No.
This is
I'm going to keep it 100. The way my father was, bro, I worked all through high school. I was a caddy. I raked leaves. I did the snow thing. You did the
gotta
snow
shovel,
shovels.
yep.
and
Shovel
go up to the door,
driveways,
shovel the
get your little
driveway.
$2.
I worked at a car wash. My grade school, in order to get ready for the SATs and stuff, I would work there, and we would mop floors in the summertime in order to prep for our tests.
Yep.
So I always had a job.
the entry exam.
And my father would always, now I had my dudes that took care of me when I was growing up, so I never had to worry about anything. My father would always tell me, he said, listen, if somebody give you something, they're going to want something back. So when I went to school, I worked. I worked at Dean Witter 2 years, my freshman, sophomore year in the summer. Wow. And then my junior year, I worked at Value City selling furniture.
Yeah, okay.
So I always got my own check. So nobody could say Well, when Jimmy was in school, did I get some food? Yeah, I got food.
Right.
But like somebody come by, hey, good
You ain't
man,
getting the
to give you
5
this,
racks and all that.
because I never wanted somebody to think that I owed them something, and I never wanted that feeling.
Right.
So I could walk away clean.
Yep.
And I was never approached to have to do that, man. My summer of my freshman year, where I lived at, I used to have to take the bus. Just the first bus stop out in Westerville, all the way downtown, Cleveland Avenue, to one of the last stops downtown to my job.
Right.
And then leave there and go work out, and then go back. But to me, that's just what I was taught.
Yep, that's just part of it.
But it was probably the best decision I made because I never wanted to go to Ohio State. Because at the time, Ohio State wasn't
Right, they weren't a powerhouse.
Basketball power.
Right.
It was Syracuse,
Yep.
who I was going to go with Kenny Anderson, who was #1 in the country at the time, and I was #2. Syracuse, North Carolina, Georgetown. Then it was Ohio State. Then it was Michigan.
Wow.
But the best decision I made was going to Ohio State.
Wow.
And why did you turn down those schools? Because those were some
Yeah.
pretty.
Oh, no. At the time, bro, Syracuse was like Big
Right,
East.
those
Yeah.
are like the top school. What, Boeheim?
Boeheim, still there, still
Still
coaching.
there. Still there.
You know, Dean Smith was
Dean
at,
Smith,
you know, at North Carolina.
I know
John
basketball
Thompson.
stuff.
See, look, he ain't no Jerry Rice, but
Right,
he know
he goes-
Dean Smith.
No, I'm just it's crazy.
You know, but
And then you and Kenny Anderson had a relationship.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you wanted to go to school together. So again, how
now he went to Georgia Tech.
Tech.
right, and
Yeah,
that,
he went to
right.
Georgia
So
Tech.
I
why
don't
did
know
you
where that
not-
came from, bro.
That came from the bag. That's where the bag went.
Hey, Bobby Crimmins was real, and his gift of gab was real good. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But when he did that, but what happened was the dynamic started to change around Ohio State because Gary Williams was there coaching, and he started recruiting like McDonald's All-Americans, like it was a Treg Lee, it was a Perry Carter, Chris Gent, who
remember
ended up
Chris
coming
Gent,
there,
yeah.
Mark Baker from Dayton, Jamal Brown from Texas. So he started recruiting, you know, high-end, high-caliber guys that were. They started to build this team, and my mentors at the time, who were older men, where I grew up at, Mr. Scrutchins, Ed Scrutchins, Calvin Lawsey, rest in peace, Pete Colt. These guys were dean of students at the University of Toledo, professor,
Wow.
Athletic director in the city, economic developer in the city. So I got a different perspective, and they were like, you can go to any of those schools you want, have a great career, maybe go pro, but going to Ohio State, if you help change the dynamics of it, it's a different animal. It's a different
lying.
dynamic because you're from there.
Yeah.
And at 18, I knew what they were saying, but I didn't.
Right.
But I chose to do that, and it was
Great
the
choice,
best decision.
obviously. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Even at a football school.
absolutely. I mean, because it's still
Right, yeah,
Ohio State
it's you-
worldwide.
right, because it's either one or the other.
Bro, no, I'm going to tell you, I was fortunate, and I say it, at the time Carlos Snow was there, you don't even know who that is. You don't
know.
He was behind Emmett as like the #1, #2 running back coming out
yeah.
of high school at the time. Okay? See, look, you
You
don't
don't know,
know.
yeah.
But John Cooper was a coach at that time, and they weren't as good, even though they had all this talent across the board.
Right.
And so for us, we were fortunate on the basketball side that the football wasn't that good.
Right. Now y'all time to shine.
Because if football is good at Ohio State,
Everything else
man,
is
you
second.
might as well forget about it, bro.
Forget about
forget
it.
about it, bro. Forget about it.
Is
You know what
Carlos
it is.
Snow related to Eric Snow? I know who Eric Snow is.
I don't think
No.
so.
Actually, what's called his brother played. What's Eric's brother? Eric's brother played at Michigan State football.
Really?
Either
Okay.
linebacker or defense. I can't think of it, but he played in the league.
Okay. Oh, I
Because
didn't know.
Eric they're from Canton.
Okay. I always thought I didn't know that he was
Eric
Ohio.
from
He
Ohio
from
State?
Canton, Canton,
Yeah,
Ohio.
told you we got ballers.
got
I
ballers.
see. I see.
tripping.
Yeah,
got
well, what
ballers.
happened to you though?
Whoa. That's where we go to commercial break right there. So again, you're at the Ohio State University. Everything
Yes.
is
What is
got
that
it.
like?
What is it like?
I mean,
right? The star on campus.
But I don't know because at that time, bro, I was just so focused on hooping.
Okay.
And I really didn't. I mean, I enjoyed college. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But we couldn't do all the normal stuff a college.
No,
student do.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
right? Because I
True
went.
statement.
I played basketball. So when people ask me about my college experience, or I'm trying to tell my kids about this, that, and the other, I'm like, man, enjoy it because it goes by so fast. And for me, like, fortunate for me, I walked on the basketball team and I played 3 years.
Right.
And so after my freshman year, I got a little bit of the college life. But after that, my sophomore year, when I started playing basketball, I went from football immediately to basketball.
No life, right?
Right.
No life,
So
yeah.
all the like campus parties and off stuff, I missed all of that. So I didn't really. So even going back like some years ago for the first time for homecoming, bro, it brought
time you
chills to me
seen
because
it.
How many times you go to homecoming when you was there? I mean, it really experienced homecoming like
Bro, I
as
went
a student.
to a small school.
You couldn't.
It was our homecoming was nothing compared to.
But you're getting ready for the
Power
games. So you
five.
didn't get to enjoy the week's
but I didn't get a
festivities.
chance. I mean, we had a little
As a
off-campus
basketball-
party. I still didn't.
Really?
Because
I
you
would
was
think-
going into basketball
Bro,
season.
I'm telling you, I didn't. Those little
Wow.
things like that, like the homecoming
out.
and stuff, even though it's in September.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah,
maybe
it's
October,
October.
right? But y'all started working
Bro,
out already.
I didn't experience a lot of that when I was in school. Now, we kicked it and went to some parties and stuff and did that. Now, I'm in the middle of the city, too, in Columbus.
Right.
So once I moved off campus my sophomore year, we would do more stuff in the city.
Right, yeah.
Rather
now you're
than
not
on
so
campus.
connected to the campus stuff. Yeah.
So that experience, but what the beauty of it was at the time, we were really close with a lot of football players. So we all hung out together. We to this day we still get together.
Right.
You know, so that was the beauty at the time. Close basketball team with close friends on the football team. So we had a Black Cultural Center on campus that we would go hang out at all the time, playing spades, watching soap operas. That was our time.
That's
to
your
meet.
hangout.
That's
That was
what I-
our
Not
hangout.
at 12
So-
o'clock at night.
No, that was our hangout.
Right. So I've been going back to UTC, talking to the AD, the assistant AD, trying to increase like the fan engagement, even just the city engagement, just to create the atmosphere again that we're talking about, the homecoming, just to have it like being something special. Because like for a small school, going back now is something that's missing.
It's missing.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, these guys, like understanding football guys, basketball, like you work hard. Again, that fan support, the student body support, that goes a long ways. They don't understand that. So I've been going back, trying to help with the fan engagement, the student
Has it been
body.
pushed back?
What's that?
Has it been pushed back in regards to some of your ideas and concepts?
No,
and what you wanna do?
actually, they've
Okay.
been receptive. I mean, I talked to the SGA, which is Student Government Association.
Mm-hmm.
They're made up of the students on campus. I went and talked to them. And so trying to talk to them, and they wanted to know, too, like, what more can we do to try to get everybody engaged? Because I'm at UT Chattanooga. Tennessee Knoxville is that school.
yeah, is that
you know what I mean?
school.
So now you got people, students torn between Tennessee, small school UT Chat. So the fan, involvement, the community involvement is not really there. But the school's been doing very well over, since I left. I mean, they've won some conference championships, all of that. So for me to see the stands empty, especially on homecoming, and then you got recruiting. That's part
They
of your
gotta see it.
recruiting.
Part of your recruiting,
You know what I
yep,
mean? You
to bring them
losing
in to see it.
Right, you
Yep.
losing recruits, and you got an empty stadium.
I tell
it's
you
more
what,
than half of an empty stadium.
that black college football, Langston University, right? That's a real homecoming.
Right,
you know
but
what I'm saying? That's how that's how we used to do it. You know
Yeah,
what
so
I'm
it's
saying?
good to kind of just hear your perspective too, because again, I'm still with friends with some of the basketball players,
Right.
That I played with. So I go back and we hang out, this and that and the other. So it's good to kind of hear your perspective on like what you guys did, especially on a big campus like that. Where again, y'all. I mean, what's your stadium host?
No. Our stadium was like
Football.
100, almost
Yeah, like
110.
100,000.
110,000, yeah.
But we don't even scratch
110,000.
not even
You
a
ain't get
third.
that. You ain't gonna get that
Bro.
all year.
So you would appreciate this. So after when I was in the league, Eddie George and Ricky Dudley, they came in after me.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
But I used to because Ricky hooped. He
Yeah,
came
right.
to Ohio
Ricky
State
did
on
to hoop.
scholarship.
Yep.
And we told him, bro, go play football.
Right.
Why
Too
did you
physical.
Because he came out as one of the top tight ends in Texas.
Yeah.
He came to Ohio State and played basketball because he loved basketball.
Right.
But when we're playing, he played 2 years. Rick, go play football.
It was right.
And it was the best decision he made.
Absolutely.
But in
Were
the,
you saying that because he couldn't hoop, or you realized that he had
we
better?
knew his better potential to be a pro, was
yeah.
on the
Football.
football side.
Okay.
Right,
yeah.
gotcha.
We knew that. Rick was a rebounder.
Yeah.
Right, he played his role.
He played his role.
Right, gotcha.
But you're not going to the NBA
But you ain't
from
going
here,
to the
bro.
NBA.
Right.
You can go to the NFL.
Yeah, go put on pads. You look like that.
What?
you go
Oh,
into
look
the-
like. I mean, came in.
Yeah.
So
No, I chiseled
he
up.
go to funny story. So in the summer, I lived in Columbus, and I would work out. My trainer was he dueled as the basketball and football trainer. So I worked out at the football facility in the summer. I used to work out with the football team in the summer.
Wow.
Gassers, parachutes, cleats on the field.
Wow.
Just a different kind of workout.
Yep,
right,
And Eddie and all those guys. Ricky, they were there in the summer.
Yep.
So that's how the relationship, like to this day with Eddie and Ricky. And so a lot of guys who played, you know, we're closely connected because of sports.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and the appreciation of what they do.
For each other,
And it's not, oh, you hoop or you play football.
No. We supporting you.
We supporting
support us.
both ways. And it's a beautiful, and I don't see as much as that.
Now,
A lot of places that I go and travel, 'cause I travel a lot on basketball. And when I talk about it, people are like, "No, we didn't do that." I'm like,
why not?
why not?
You're the same team. You're on
The same school. You're representing the same colors.
Exactly, and that's what I try to get. I'm like, yo, support. Like going back to Chattanooga, like I stood in line at Starbucks, bought the kids Starbucks. I'm trying to get everybody like come to homecoming. Make sure not just homecoming for the rest of the season.
Yeah, regular season game
right,
too.
They need your support. Like you are them, they are you. Like we're at the same university. You know what I mean? So it's been a process. But it's getting there. Like this past homecoming, better attendance than it has been in the last 3 years.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere,
Yeah, so that bun, that's crazy, man. I didn't know you like worked out. Man. So did you see a difference in the football workouts?
Oh, heck yeah. what? Oh, man, I was sore because
them hammies was more hamstring, more groin.
Different muscle group. But it helped me in regards to like quick burst actions, you know, because what we were doing mentally, it helped me focus a lot more on my lower body strength.
Yep.
You know, with my
Which
trainer.
comes with balance.
What comes with balance. Right. A lot of it had to do with balance too. Yep. But it was just a good offshoot, even to be off the court, but working, but appreciating watching those young men at the time work out.
Yeah. That still gives you a mentality
that gives me a better appreciation of what they go through as a football player.
Right.
Okay, the work you got to put in.
Yes.
You know, and the dedication. Man, you got to love being hit, bro, when you play football.
Yeah.
I don't care what position you're playing. You gotta love the contact of the sport.
That's part of it.
That's part of it. You don't, you're not gonna survive.
You ain't gonna make it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I got a chance to sense and feel that by being around them a lot in the summer and actually watching the coaches interact with the players and just get a vibe from that, man.
Right. Now watching younger college athletes now, do you see any basketball guys you're like, yo, he needs to go work out with football guys that might help him become a better basketball player?
Not right offhand, but the game is so different because it's not as physical now.
True.
You know, which is, and I'm not one of those old school guys that it's like, well, you know, back in my day, we were the best. We did because the game, like football,
it's changed.
But it has to change.
Right.
Just think about this. So, and again, I love football. Dan Fouts was one of the few back in the day where it wasn't run first.
Right.
Pass second.
Right.
Their offense was spread out where they were passing and spraying it around.
Right, 30, 40 times back in the day.
Kellen Winslow was like tight end. That was my. That was you. That was me.
That was you. You was little Winslow.
That's right. but think about this. So he passed it a lot. Fran Tarkenton passed it a lot back in the day. But what about if it was Joe Montana?
They still weren't throwing it.
Okay.
Right.
But think about his numbers if he played, if it was more emphasis on passing the ball.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Right.
So the numbers are going to be inflated today's game with quarterbacks, and that's not a bad thing because you're throwing 30, 40 times a game.
Absolutely.
Same thing with basketball. The game couldn't stay the same like it was in the 90s, in the early 2000s. So these young men that are playing the game now, shooting threes, and people are like, man, that ain't, but they don't know. Because this is how they grew up. They grew up in AAU.
They do know.
I can't expect you to play like me because you didn't grow up playing in the park. You didn't grow up playing in the alley. You didn't go to basketball camps. So for guys to think that, well, you need to have this kind of mentality, it's impossible. Now, you may have outliers.
Of course.
Where you got guys that are gritty that play like Devin Booker. He plays a certain way, bro. He go get to his mid-range. He tough.
Right.
He's not relying on the three for his game.
Right.
But he's an outlier.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're going to have that. But for the majority, that's why when I watch the game now, I try to call it and judge it on what it is today. It may be some similarities in something in the past that you can relate to, but I try to keep it focused on today.
Today's game.
Yeah, because that's tough. Because when we're watching games, we always want to say, "Well, we wouldn't," or
exactly.
MJ
Always, bro.
or Kobe.
Yeah.
We're trying to compare it, but again, it's like we like the game, but we still don't think it's as good as a game.
But here's the thing. This is what I give people. I give an analogy like this. What's your favorite music?
R&B, hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably the same about R&B.
What era?
90s, new
90s.
edition.
When you were growing up.
Already.
When you were growing up, right?
Already, yeah.
So it's
yeah.
nostalgic.
Yes,
Right,
sir.
So we talk to somebody older, they gonna go back to like the 70s.
Yeah, and we
Exactly.
say, oh, that ain't nothing.
But see, I love 60s and 70s music.
Right.
Oh,
There's
Marvin
some
Gaye,
that'll touch
bro,
your
it
heart.
is.
Right,
It is.
right.
That's
Touches your soul.
when it comes to R&B, the 70s
Right.
to the mid 80s is my favorite.
Okay.
Right. But then what do you always go back to?
But I go to my hip hop
Right.
in the late 80s, mid 80s, 90s, because that's when that's
Right.
my formative year.
Right, yeah.
That's what I
How
go
I learned
back.
to dress, how I learned to...
Exactly. So
Right,
that's the same thing with
You must
sports.
have missed them because you can't dress clean.
clean.
I don't know how you giving all this information,
you sitting
but you
here
still,
with a Grinch who stole
Dog,
Christmas
dog, this is-
sweatshirt
hey,
on. I ain't
hey,
trying to
this-
hear
you
it.
see what-
Hey, man.
This passion,
but,
dog.
but,
I get it.
that's my point about when you watch sports, I don't care what it is. If it's a certain era that you grew up in, a lot of times you end up going back and saying this era was the best. And a lot of it is because of
Just
the
who we
nostalgic part. Either you played during that time or the formation of you being a young man to a man or a young woman to a woman. You grew up, something happened at that time that connects you to that sport or to that music.
Right. Okay, so when somebody is saying, they'll say somebody who's played 3 or 4 years, what I can't stand, right? If I'm watching the game, a receiver will have 6 catches, and they're like, that's the next T.O., that's the next Moss. I'm like, he's in his 3rd year. So that doesn't bother you that they're going to compare a dude in his 1st, 2nd, or 3rd year to legends like Michael and
But
Kobe?
it's natural. It's a natural thing, especially in broadcasting, because you want to try to figure out who's going to be the next person. And if there are similarities in the game itself of that person, people point it out. Now, I don't think the player thinks that at that time.
Right. Because they were like, no, I'm not there yet.
I'm not even there. But
you're an analyst.
you're an analyst. But the beauty about a T.O., about a Jerry Rice, about a Chris Carter, about a LeBron James, about a Michael Jordan is longevity. And to be able to do it, people don't understand how hard it is to
Years.
do it over and over
When they know you
and
coming.
over and over through injuries.
Yes.
And it's so crazy because some people ask me, I just got asked the other day, and I was sitting at a restaurant in Houston. This guy asked me, well, who is your top 5? And then I'll have some kids that are asking me, who are your top 5 in today's game or just overall. And once I start mentioning, my top 5, even when I played or even now, people are like, well, why aren't you saying Odell Beckham Jr.?
Right.
I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not discounting his abilities. I said, but the era in where we are right now, where we exist in a social media driven era, I said he made a spectacular catch
And
on
had a couple
whatever
good years, yeah.
and it went viral. So everybody knows his name. But I think if you look at his body of work, not to say it's bad, but it's what you just said, it's longevity.
Longevity.
You're like, do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
You got to play
remains
10
to be
years.
seen because you're right. It's sustainability. It requires longevity. It can't be like a year or two here that you balling out flash here, then you have some injuries here and you fall off. You come back, you have another good year, then you fall off again. It's like that doesn't make a player a great player or a Hall of Fame player per se. And people are like, that's not me disrespecting his game, but I'm looking at it through my lens and the lens of people that analyze the game. That okay, how did I get to where I am? I would be a realist and be like, yo, if I didn't have the career that I had and I was inducted into the Hall of Fame or nominated, I wouldn't say, yeah, I belong, but it was the longevity. People are like, man, how did you, because the life shift of a receiver, any football player is like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I played 15.
15.
So if I didn't have those years, I wouldn't be able to amass those numbers that I accumulated. So that's what it all boils down to.
You can't discount that because, to be able to perform at a high level consistently for 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 years.
Right. Yes.
People tend to take it for granted too. Because they see the professionalism, they see
it becomes a norm.
It becomes a norm for
becomes
you as
normal.
an individual
Right.
because there's so. And then when they see a flash in the pan, and I don't mean that any disrespect,
Of course,
of a young
it's
player
just an
that comes
analogy
in,
of what it is.
1 year, 2 years,
years.
okay, great. But then can you do it the 5th year, the 6th year, the 7th year?
Exactly.
That part of it needs to be, I think, highlighted in a career of some person. Now, sometimes the numbers don't reflect it, but longevity is just I mean, it says a lot about the endurance, ability to play through injuries.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and even too, if you play on multiple teams, to be able to adjust to systems.
Very true. That's a big deal,
And
too.
for me, I think that's what I was able to do. Everywhere that I went, I played on 5 teams. I was able to adjust to the systems and the quarterbacks that I played with.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing when I started out with Steve Young, pure pocket passer, but he had the ability to dual threat.
Dual
Then,
threat
like I said, then I transitioned to Jeff Garcia, who was more looked at as a run type of quarterback out of the pocket. He wasn't a traditional pocket passer. Then I go to Philly. I'm with Donovan McNabb, runner, but he was a quarterback that
The pocket passer, yeah.
throw that thing down the field. I wasn't used to that in San Fran because I only got a taste of it with Steve.
And Jeff was different.
Jeff
was different.
This is my
Movement
first time
guy.
I really had a quarterback that could literally throw the ball 60, 70 yards down the field. First time. And then from there I go with Tony Romo. He's a combination of
Mobility,
Steve
pocket, yeah.
Young, Jeff, and Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
So I had to adjust on the fly like everywhere that I went. And then, like I said, there was enough. I think when I went to Buffalo and Cincinnati, those were like different systems. Everywhere else was like West Coast.
Right.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
familiar with
yeah, yeah.
West Coast. Like I said, it's more pass friendly.
Yep.
You know,
3 wide
balanced,
receiver
but
sets.
Yeah, it was an adjustment.
Yep. Again, speaking of different systems, right? You play with 12 teams, right? 14 years. Like, tell us the greatest part about that. Because a lot of people are like, well, he was bouncing around.
Right, yeah.
I'm like,
They would
that's
look at it
great.
as a
He got to know
journeyman.
different guys,
there's a
different
number-
systems,
right.
different types of basketball.
Right, and there's a number of guys that have, has done that or taken that path. I mean, my guy Matt Barnes, he did
Yeah.
that
Oh, big time.
for a number of years.
It was a blessing, bro. It was a blessing from this perspective, is that I got a chance to play with some of the greatest players.
Right. Right.
Whether that was AI, T-Mac, Yao Ming, Alonzo Mourning, Steve Nash, Kobe.
Boy, you played.
Wow.
Boy,
You know what I
All
mean?
of
These
them,
are all the
right.
same.
C-Webb and that team up there in Sacramento. Played for some outstanding coaches. Larry Brown played for Lindley Wilkins. Played
Lindley
for
Wilkins.
Pat Riley.
It's so crazy the names he's
Lindley
naming right
I'm telling
now.
you.
Wow.
Come on, man. Phil Jackson.
They're Hall of Fame players, Hall of Fame
Coaches,
coaches,
yeah.
and future Hall of Famers to be.
Bro, it is.
That's crazy.
And now it hurts you from a basketball perspective because the path of my career after my 3rd year when I got hurt, I tore my ankle up. It was a 3rd-degree sprain. I was averaging about 25 a game, and the doctor said it'd be better if you would have broke it.
Right.
'Cause
Yes.
the bone heals.
Clean. Yeah, bone break is clean.
Which sounds so
it's so
crazy.
crazy, right?
It sounds so
I wish I
crazy.
would have broke my ankle.
Yeah, exactly. But once you strain that ligament, so it was a 3rd degree. So that actually spread up to my knee where I had real severe tendonitis and I couldn't jump. So I'm a right-handed player that jumps off my left leg. So imagine you running, T.O., you down trying to go off the break, the ball comes to you, you want to explode up, but every time you hit it hard, the pain just shoots up.
Yeah, I know.
So I never complained about it. I just kind of went through it. So
That's that mental toughness.
Yeah.
well, yeah, and I didn't want anybody to think I'm hurt. I'm gonna use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the same player. But what happened was, it was a microcosm of life to me because in each situation that I went to, I had to figure out how to fit my game in and work to be able to play.
Yes.
At the end of the day, a lot of players that go from maybe being a top tier player, franchise type player, get traded to another system. The mental part where they can't handle of not being that guy again forces them into early retirement or
Yes.
not being the player that they used to be or can contribute. So what I had to learn was on each team, it requires something different. And if I wanted to play Miami, for example, when I went to Miami, it was, okay, in order for me to get on the court, I got to play defense. I got to play defense.
Different system.
But once I got on the court, my offense could then flourish a little bit more. But I had to get on the court first. But I had to change my mentality. So it taught me so much about me, how to deal with adversity, because you go from being a top-tier player, a franchise-type player, a player that's looked upon to help carry a franchise, to a secondary player, to a bench player, to a player that doesn't play. That's, from an ego perspective, you could be stifling.
Yep.
It could be demoralizing in some aspect, depending on how you look at it. But it taught me so much. It taught me so many lessons of life, how to deal with people, how to deal with adversity, how to deal with management, okay? And now, and I can talk about that with my son, both of my sons, on the challenges of life. But that's the beauty of my career. And plus, I got a chance to meet and live in some great cities and meet a lot of great business people that I never would have met.
Right.
So my mentality started to change from the fact that, oh, you're going to another city to, okay, well, let me get with the top business people over here. Let me meet with this corporation over here. That, to me, was
outweighs all that
all
what if scenario of this championship or this whatever team.
You want the championship.
Right.
But those relationships I have to this day, I can go to 12 different cities right now, pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah.
Right.
Where if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't be able to do it, and I wouldn't have the versatility to be able to, from a business perspective, look at different opportunities because of that.
Yeah.
Right, but I think it all started
real.
when Bart Schroeder.
That's what I said.
Look back on that bench.
14-year-old boy and said, Jim, get in the game.
Right. So again, that's why I told you we're gonna come back to that. Right, because
that's powerful.
What you're learning, what you learned was from that moment. True. Because like I said, you were able to, like I said, it was polar opposite.
Right.
But as you said, it taught you a lot about how to deal with conflict,
adversity,
all those.
You know what? That's so true, bro. It's and I didn't think about it in those terms, but
because I'm listening to you.
Clear
I'm
as a
to you,
bell.
But you said it yourself, but I'm listening and I'm connecting it now to where we are now. It's like, yo, this is where it all started.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a trip, man. Life is
right.
At 52, I look at things so different, man. The blessing that I have, and it allows me to, when I broadcast games, kind of reflect on kind of what a player is going through. Because I've been there. I've been at the high level side. I've been a secondary player. I've been a bench player, and I've been a guy that didn't play. So all those facets of the game, when I see players going through it, I've been there.
You know exactly what that emotion is.
I may not have been there at the highest level, like a Carmelo when he was going through his challenges.
Not in the league, right.
Okay, when he was in OKC in Houston and was fighting it, I didn't have the career Carmelo had. But what I said about Carmelo was, when you look in the mirror at the current age and stage of career you're at, who do you see? Is it Carmelo from 10 years ago, or is it this current iteration of Carmelo?
Right.
Do you call some of the guys sometimes and give them that type of advice?
I mean, if I see him, and we may chop it up and talk about it, and it comes across. I want it all organically.
I know that's a hard call.
It is, unless we had a previous relationship.
Right.
You know, but I try to come across on my broadcast or when I'm on TV, because the message can still get across.
Right.
And to me, I think you can always be critical in this game, but you don't got to be disrespectful.
Yep,
I'm not one of those guys that I need to have a hot take or something like that. I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I can be critical.
Right. Yeah, and
because as an analyst, that's your job.
As an analyst, that's what you really to be true to your craft. Again, like I said, some people, like you said, they'll say things off the cuff, just give hot takes, just to create stuff. But I think to be true to like who you are, I think, and just playing the game yourself is to obviously you be critical, critique someone without disrespecting.
Disrespect.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, shoot, out of those 12 teams, you will have to give us the top 5 teammates you ever had. That's gonna be your top 5. I know. It's like we should do top 5 NBA players of all time.
Oh man!
But I need it from, since you played with everybody in the NBA.
That's like Sam Cassell is my guy.
There it is.
Sam was in my wedding.
Sam, I am.
We got
Shout
traded
out.
together from Dallas to Jersey.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, that's
one of your boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one. Okay. We'll take Sam.
Brian Grant is actually from Ohio.
I didn't know that.
He's from a small town, Georgetown, Ohio. Is closer to Cincinnati. I mean, Kentucky.
Really? Okay. Okay. That's
Brian
2.
Grant, Sam Cassell, Sam, that's my guy.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah. When he was with the Clippers, I used to go down there. We used to go 1-on-1, play 1-on-1 to 7. We'd be going there.
Going at it, right?
Yeah.
Our boy Catino,
Cat already.
We had him on the
Shout
show.
out to Cat. You already know.
Cat.
Yeah.
That's 3. Got 2 more.
On, man.
2 more
Top
favorite
5.
teammates.
Oh, tell you 2 of my favorite, and Mateen Cleaves.
Okay.
Minnie?
Michigan State.
We were together in Sacramento. The thing I loved about Mateen, he wasn't playing, but he was first one in the gym. He was there working hard. When I went to go get shots, when I had my son with me, my team to meet me in the gym.
That's awesome.
Never complaining.
Yep. It's awesome.
And Damon Jones.
D. Jones.
In Miami.
D.
Wow.
Jones.
We were together in Sacramento.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
D.
we're still
Jones.
close friends. But so many guys I
Jones.
played with, bro.
I know.
It's like it's hard to categorize.
Hey, those are your
but
top
those are
five.
the
You
ones that
can't
I'm
be.
in touch with all the
There you
time.
go.
Right, yeah.
Because again, the relationship is more important than the
Yeah.
basketball.
Oh, big time.
Basketball brought us together, but the relationship go keep us together.
Yeah,
So that's
big
what's
time,
up, man.
bro.
Let everybody know where they can find you on social media handles.
I'm not really active. I'm too old, bro.
Oh, but they
I
can
feel
see
you.
it. But you get so much airtime on some of these top
I-
notch.
I-
Yeah, go
I
ahead and
do
give
that.
them that. Give them that.
But no, it's on Twitter is Jim Jackson 419 Toledo thing.
Already,
Okay.
419
Jim Jackson,
in the building.
419. Okay.
IG is Jim Jackson 2224 and TNT Clipper Games. Fox basketball, college basketball.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't really need social media because that
You are the media.
I mean,
You don't need social media when you are the media.
I mean, I told you getting sometimes more FaceTime than some of these guys are sitting on the bench. A lot of guys don't. You don't even. I tell you, get more FaceTime than some of these guys sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
So,
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, man.
Beautiful
We
thing.
appreciate you, man.
Come on, man,
Appreciate you,
anytime.
man, dropping
man.
that joints, dropping them gems
Come on,
for us, man.
I love it, man. And you know, like I said, I'm blessed. I got the best gig in the world. I get the chance to
what's up.
travel, talk, do this.
Already.
Before how was that transition? Before you leave, how was that
Yeah, let's get into that a
transition
little
To
bit.
TV?
Yeah, to TV,
Yeah,
to doing what you're
sports
doing
to
now.
TV.
Because now I know you get that. You seeing guys. You're like, man.
I don't know if I want to do that. I
can-
want to do that.
I think I can still do this. Do you
Yeah.
get it? Yeah, but
you know what? When I retired in 06, took that year off, I was doing some real estate stuff. So I never had that period of time of regret or what am I going to do once I retired. I never had that.
Okay.
I understand when guys go through it because it's a finality that hits you that you're not ready for.
Right.
Because 99% of professional athletes, I would say, don't retire the way they want.
Yeah, we're right. Correct.
Think about it. You
No,
either
we
forced
never
out
do.
because you're too old,
I'm
or
definitely
you got
one.
or you got injuries, or something happened.
Right.
So to be able to walk away from the game on your own recognizance is something special.
Doesn't happen,
and it
right.
rarely happens, even with the best.
Right.
But that period between 06 and 07, I was doing my thing, wasn't worried about it. The TV thing just happened to come to me.
Awesome.
It was the Big Ten Network's first year. An agent asked if I'd be interested in auditioning for it. I never thought about really. I've done TV before when I was playing radio, TV, TNT for during the playoffs, but I didn't think about a career.
Right.
But it just happened that network started. I went and auditioned. And Lord, if I look at some stuff now, back then I probably
You're like, why'd y'all give me this?
I'm like shaking my head. I probably shake my head, but it allowed me to get with a brand. Fox owned 51% of Big Ten Network,
Okay.
but it allowed me to get with a company and a brand at the very beginning, at the roots.
Right.
So I was there to watch it grow, and I made mistakes, but I did a little bit of everything. So I was there to 2015.
Wow.
So that's what got me into it. And once I got into it, I was like, oh, eventually I want to get to the pro side.
Yep.
Right.
So I had
Naturally,
to work.
Right.
Right.
So,
Natural thing.
and here's the thing about the broadcasting thing, and I can't be mad at people. If you got the resume and the pedigree, you go get opportunities
Regardless.
right away.
Already. Yep.
You'll get thrown out
They
there.
throwing it to
if
you.
you're a Hall of Fame player and you're about to retire, you see it. Tom Brady got to deal with Fox right now. He
Already.
ain't even retired
Over
yet.
100.
Right.
Over 100.
No, what? No, bro. It was like,
350.
yeah, like over 10 years.
Yeah.
Let me hold
I ain't got
You know
nothing.
what,
They can't
though?
even give me none of that.
But you know what? His career, I can't be mad at it.
Right.
I had to take a different grind.
Right.
It took me a grind to get to the top of where I needed to be in college and then finally get to the NBA. It didn't happen overnight.
Right. Yeah.
But it taught me so much about how to prep, how to prepare, how to interview, all these little things that we learned playing sports.
Right.
I just transferred that into broadcasting, how to study, how to be prepared.
Yep.
How to listen. All these things that
Which go back to your growing up at
growing back-
14.
yeah, 14
15
years old, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Shout
how
out
we do
to
it.
Bart Schroeder.
Yeah, shout out. That's how I got started here, man.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Anytime, man.
Jim Jackson, or how we like to say back in the day,
we gotta
Jimmy
do a playoff
Jackson.
version of this when we get to the playoffs.
There it
Yeah,
is.
no
We
doubt,
go
no
run
doubt.
it.
We
Get your
got it.
Popcorn Ready podcast. See y'all next week. Peace.